Hello and welcome to The Actor and the Engineer. My name is Paul James. I am the actor.
And my name is Josh Knapp. I'm the broadcast engineer.
Here we go, Josh.
I saw the thing, it was nothing, and then it was like, I'm on. So I don't know if that has anything to do. I know we kind of do a little bit of that beforehand where we like are transitioning into the recording, but I didn't know if that was anything to do with you being in the middle of a run of your play. So how's that going?
I have no idea what you just said to me, by the way. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, you had a I'm not on the podcast face, or like nobody's looking at me face till like something is happening.
What's that count?
And I am
that countdown. 5, 4, 3.
I know, it's weird.
It is totally weird, but you know what? It is part of it. So, answer to your question is the play's going very well. Opening night was rough. I came home and was upset because I was disappointed in how I felt about it. I have no gauge in it whatsoever. I cannot gauge it at all. I'm a pretty good gauge of a lot of things. Movies, going and seeing theater, other people's acting, mine, I have no clue. And it's just everything's so overwhelming on opening night. And we had a nice crowd and they responded. And my brother surprised me, came down from Maryland. Yeah. It was pretty cool, and a lot of cool things happened, and I'll tell you most of those because they're more personal after the podcast. Yeah. And so I was walking up down the hallway. I'm in all but 1.5 scenes of the play, and the last scene I'm not in at all. So I'm pacing up and down until curtain call. And I was like, I'm going to go look to see if I recognize anybody's car. And I didn't see anybody that I recognized. Like, phew. And I turned to my left and I just saw this black truck and I was like, is that my brother's? And I'm getting closer and I'm in denial that I'm looking at a Maryland license plate. And sure enough. And I was like, it's blue and white. That was what was weird about it. It was not your traditional black and
white and black.
Oh, white and black. Yeah, whatever it is. And so I was like, that's his car. Damn it. My brother's going to think I'm a bad actor. So here's the great part about that story, though. So I get home and I'm calling one of my confidants and I'm like, and they're like, the first pancake is never good. It's still tasty. It's still, it's just not as pretty as the other ones. The second pancake will be better. And I was like, okay, that's helping. And then as I'm talking to my friend, my brother calls in and they had about an hour and 45-minute drive, which is amazing to begin with, that he just showed up. I knew he was coming. I just didn't know he was going to come on opening night. And I'm pretty dead set against anybody being in the audience on opening night because of the experience. And I don't want anybody sitting up close either. They're
like, hi.
Yeah, hi. That's my big forehead. Yes, I can see you. But actually, it's a very small, intimate theater. And when the lights come up, I can barely see anybody anyway. And I'm not wearing my glasses throughout most of the play. So it's all kind of blurry. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that when I was talking to my friend, I'm a bad actor, my brother called. He goes, hey, his wife, Janine, my sister-in-law, and him are talking about the play. And do you think this? And do you think that? And do you think this? And he was asking me, he goes, I know that the play is meant to say one thing, but do you think I'm personalizing it? And he goes into some issues that we have in our own family. He goes into some issues we had with my father. Do you think this character has this? Blah, 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 blah. And then he starts quoting me from the play. And he had just seen it one time. And like he got one of my lines almost completely correct. And it just welled me up because I thought, well, I mean, I got my point across enough for him to remember my lines. So something. And then I crossed my fingers and I was like, okay, whatever happens, I just hope it's a good review for the play because that sells tickets. And it's a small theater and these people are super, super nice. And we got a lot of feedback from people. And I kind of keep my eyes down to the ground when I'm like, hi, thank you for coming. Hi, thank you for coming. And try to get out of there, but be polite at the same time and try to do my duty, if you will, because that's all part of it and I accept it, but I keep my eyes down to the ground. And I realized I made no eye contact with anybody that night except for my brother. Cause I didn't want that. You did a good job. You were up there. Congrats. You stood up. You didn't fall down.
You gave it a good try.
You didn't fall down. I couldn't deal with it. But then the response came and it's been
I read a review that was really good.
Yeah, it's going to kill me a little bit. Don't get me started already. Yeah. What was interesting about that review is that she spent time talking about my character and what she saw him going through. which I thought was fascinating. I thought that was more of a compliment than I've ever gotten in my life. So yeah, so Saturday night, the second pancake was brilliant. I had another friend of mine show up Saturday night, and then my niece showed up on Sunday, the matinee, and we got a standing ovation. So far so good. I was just happy for the theater that they're going to sell tickets, and that, except for that Paul James, this play would have been great. I was waiting for it. Yeah, I know. I hear myself. That's the problem, is that I know the difference between what I should be thinking and what I do think. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that Saturday I did make eye contact with people, and they were engaged and touching and like putting their arms on my shoulders and tearing up as they were talking to me. It was amazing. And then I met one of the young ladies, one of the actresses in the play, her boyfriend, and a bunch of 20-something-year-olds came. I'd say there was about 6 or 7 of them. They were super nice, and they all just engaged, like bright-eyed and looking right at me, thank you for that. That was, just complimentary and engaged, and that's all you can really ask for. So yes, thank you for asking about that, because somebody from the theater listened to our podcast, and you were asking about the play, and they were very impressed by that you took the time to well, I mean, they were.
Hey, yeah, no, that's great. I'm excited because like I know it's been a little while, and I'm excited to see you back into the thing that you love the most. So 3
more, and very important people are coming. And then my other niece is coming on Sunday to close it all up. Sorry, it's getting to me a little bit, and so I just want to stand my ground, not pass out. It's one of those things that it just gets better. And knocking on wood, I would like to get better. I would like to grow. And I don't know if that's just by doing it or accepting the fact that I seem to get through it. And it doesn't help me though, knowing that I've gotten through it before. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, but I think it like a lot of other things like this, it's a muscle. Like as you exercise it, it gets stronger and stronger. And so I'm sure you've noticed that through time. And as you stretch yourself farther, you probably find out, I'm assuming from all the plays that you've been in since we've been doing the podcast, you've found out that you are able to do things that you previously thought you weren't able to do. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And I'll wrap it up.
It's fun to see that.
That's a good way to wrap this up, because this is heavy dialogue. I have a scene that is 9 pages long, and it's and it's tough.
You gotta be on.
I have to eat pizza the whole entire time too.
What? Oh,
yes. So
man.
You know what? I didn't think I would be able to do that, and I've done that. So once more.
3 times more into the breach.
Yes. Ooh, I wasn't going to say 3. That made me a little nervous. On my side of my throat went. Anyway, let's move on to the most important part of the evening.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're talking about Oscars, so I think this will be fun. We like to do this where we kind of go through and decide like what we each think will win, and who we think or what we think should win,
or vote for.
Or what we would vote for. Well, I think it's what should win.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fair.
If I'm going to vote for it, I think it should win. I'm not going to vote for something that I don't think should win. But either, maybe that's a bit of a semantic argument. So, all right. Well, let's start with actress, because I think a lot of people are kind of like, it seems like things are moving in a particular way, or were moving in a particular way for a long time with Cate Blanchett, and then Michelle Yeoh seems like she's kind of come on pretty strong by the end. I'll start. I think that Cate Blanchett should win for Tar, but I do think Michelle Yeoh will win. And I love Everything Everywhere All at Once, so I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I think that what Cate Blanchett does in that movie, in Tar, like that movie is not that movie without Cate Blanchett, in the same way that it's not that movie without Todd Field. So I know you're looking at me like that because you're going to say the same thing about Michelle Yeoh.
Hands down. It's it's indisputable that everything you just said could apply to the Daniels and Michelle Yeoh. I think I completely understand your discussion, and I don't disagree with you. So you're saying Kate will win, and you would vote for Michelle, is what you said.
Opposite.
You think Michelle will win, but you would vote for Kate. Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. It's like Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins. Not one person that I've read since that happened has ever disputed the fact that Anthony Hopkins should have won. Nobody. They're upset by the way it happened. They're upset by the momentum that was halted and the inconceivable thing of doing that category last and him not winning, but they have never said, well, Anthony Hopkins shouldn't have won, not once. So I think whatever happens, that's going to happen this year. If Cate Blanchett does win, no one can dispute it. You just can't. That performance is riveting. But Michelle Yeoh will win, and Michelle Yeoh is who I would vote for, just because of the amount of things that she had to do. Not that you could ever say this is 5 extra points because you were at a Hollywood premiere, or this is 5 extra points because you were at a dry cleaning place and your daughter was crying in front of you. You can't quantify something like that. Or, you fell down some stairs while you were stalking somebody in a movie, Cate Blanchett. You can't quantify that. So, but what I think Michelle Yeoh did was got into our souls, and she will not leave. And I'm thankful for it. I think it's an amazing performance. I think she's going to historically be placed finally. And yes, so Michelle Yeoh will win, and I would vote for Michelle Yeoh.
All right. Okay. Let's do adapted screenplay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll go through. I didn't go through the Best Actress nominees. The Best Actress nominees were Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for Fabelmans, Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm gonna say that a lot tonight.
I've been practicing.
EEAAO.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. And sometimes why?
Okay, so what did I say? Adapted screenplay? Okay, so for adapted screenplay, there's All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. So I have the names here. I can go through the names, I guess. Okay, but we're just going to move forward.
No, I'm just giving up. I fold.
Well, okay, so...
Impossible.
I think to me, I saw All Quiet on the Western Front, and the screenplay is not the first thing that I think of in that film. But I actually wasn't that jazzed with that movie. I'm think
halfway through.
Yeah, well,
it's hard. And I knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
And I tried to get it in before the podcast, and I started today, and I was like, nope. And then I watched an hour or so, and that, me, I don't do that. I don't I just couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it won't be what I think it's going to be. It's exactly what it's tough.
That was me. Yeah, that was me with EO. I watched the first 5 minutes of EO. I turned it off.
I don't even know what that is.
I watched. Oh, that's one of the nominees for Best International Film.
Okay.
It's a Jerzy Smolinski film.
God bless you.
Yeah, I think it's Czech Republic, I believe. But anyway, it's about a donkey, and it's kind of like a remake of a older movie, somewhat a spiritual remake, I think, of an older movie. But either way, like, it's about a donkey, and it's got, like, I don't know. I watched another 10 minutes of it, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. Too many animal things. So I understand where you're coming from.
I'll finish it. I just couldn't do it. And you know me, I'm usually done, completely done. And I'm actually taken back this year how quickly I was done. Anyway, let's get this one done.
So yeah, I think for me, I would pick Women Talking. And I think I'm not really sure what is going to win here. So I don't think it's going to be Top Gun Maverick, although I understand that people may want to like try to give Top Gun Maverick an Academy Award because of what it's done for film. It made whatever $1.5 billion or something at the global box office. But so I would say Women Talking, and I'm going to say that Women Talking will win. Also,
You would vote for Women Talking, and
it will.
I
Win.
think it will win, and I am super happy. And there's a momentum happening with her winning, which is great. Sarah Polley. Yeah, and I think she will deserve it because we have to remember screenplay is also the sun rises over the barn. It's all part of the screenplay. That's all in it, and I'm not sure people take that in, and I didn't take it in for the longest time. It's not just the dialogue. It's not just what the characters are doing. It's everything. And so
it's that walk back to the house.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Jesse Buckley does.
And the scenes of the schoolboys, and the scenes of the schoolboys on the fence, and the scenes of the one character getting the water. And so, yes, so I think it will win. But I would vote for Glass Onion. I would, because I think Rian Johnson did something that I was not expecting him to do, which I have to stop saying about him because he just keeps doing stuff that I love. That man, I think he's great. He just created a movie that I thought was more interesting than the first one on some levels. I understand why people don't, but that's okay. And he tells you everything you need to know in the first 10 minutes of that movie, and it just reiterates it for 2 hours. And then at the end, you're like, what? That's what happened? Like, you're shocked. And then the big reveal is so huge. I'm so excited about what, if he does another Glass Onion, which I'm sure he will. Because remember,
he's contracted to do a third Benoit Blanc film already.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, you remember I said he shouldn't. After the first one, I said
right.
I said he shouldn't because it was so great. Leave it alone. Don't mess it up. Well, once again, when I'm wrong, I am wrong.
Well, if you haven't started watching Poker Face, you need to, because he's executive producer, directed the first 1 or 2 episodes, wrote the first episode. Like, him and Natasha Lyonne have a thing for detectives and all of that stuff, and it's so good.
Well, I'm in the middle of Severance right now, so I'm lost. I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm lost in a white hallway. I'm lost. My key card
with Christopher Walken and John Turturro.
Oh my God, I want to be both of them. I love them so much, and what's happening with them. I love everything about the show so far, as disturbing as it is. Okay, so will win. Women Talking. I would vote for Glass Onion.
Got it. All right. Okay. So let's do a supporting actor. That's Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Barry Kogan for Banshees of Inisherin, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans. So, I mean,
this is the lock of the night, and if it's not, it will be the biggest shock in Oscar history.
Yeah, it's Ke Huy Quan.
Absolutely.
Now, I did see Causeway recently, and Brian Tyree Henry is very good in that movie. But I also just rewatched that scene from If Beale Street Could Talk, and like we should have given him the Oscar for that scene. We should have Judd Hirshed him. Yeah, I should have Judd Hirsch him, or the actress who actually did win, or Ned Beatty, I guess. Ned Beatty essentially won that Oscar for Network, where he's in like one, or didn't he win?
No, Beatrice Straight won.
Beatrice Straight won.
She's in actually 3 scenes, and I think one of them's her waking up and making coffee. One of them's her going to lunch, I think, and then the scene, and that's it.
Okay. Wow, Ned Beatty's scene was great too.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm scared of that scene.
Yeah. Oof. So I mean, we should have given him the Oscar for that scene in If Beale Street Could Talk. But either way, I think that Ke Huy Quan will win, and I think that there's a conversation to be had. I think for Brendan Gleeson, because I don't even know if he should be in that chunk. Where I know you've explained it to me, and I understand why he is a supporting actor, but at the same time, like, his command of that character, and it feels he feels so lived in that character, and so confident in his portrayal of that character. I think that was there's a discussion to be had about that, but I think that Ke Huy Quan, the story is amazing, obviously, and I think that's what people are gravitating towards. But also, he puts in an amazing performance as 3 separate people, essentially. So, I mean, I don't know how you
remember when I said that when they switched to the In the Mood for Love scene, and he's so suave and he's so just electric. I was like, that's your best supporting actor for the year. So yes, he will win. And this is tough for me because Brian Tyree Henry, that scene in the car when he first alludes to the accident, and I'm not giving anything away, it's in the trailer. What goes through his eyes is devastating. And I think he holds that movie together. I think it's great to see her back in a small film, Jennifer Lawrence. But I think that he holds that movie together. He has stitched that movie together. I think she does great work. But there are things in it that I'm like, I'm wondering if that could have been done differently, or I'm wondering why they chose that take, or I'm wondering why they chose that shot of hers. Now she's brilliant in it,
Well, yeah, I think for me, just very quickly, sorry, I didn't mean to butt in, but I think for me,
but you're going to anyway.
To be, well,
totally.
He's supposed to be the audience. Like I say this all the time, the audience surrogate. I think that he's supposed to be the audience surrogate, but what we don't understand until halfway through the movie is that he is just as complex and broken to a certain extent as she is. And so he has to be able to play all of that all at once. Like he's in some ways our entry into her character, but then also he's got his own things that he's going through. And so that is, to me, that was that extra layer, that extra wrinkle that made the movie a little bit more interesting.
And it's all in his eyes. It's all in his eyes. I mean, you read it way before you actually hear about it. I will say this, Jennifer Lawrence's delivery of when he goes, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. She goes, okay, how do I do that? Is like the perfect line reading for that scene. Do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. It's in the commercial. It's in the trailer. Okay. So Ke-Huy Quan will win and he should win, but I have to say, I would vote for Barry Keoghan. I would, because he struck me hard. And I think, now I hear Ke-Huy, I hear Kiwi. So I'm not sure. I go with Ke-Huy. I'm not sure if it's Ke-Huy Quan or Ke-Huy Quan. But he's going to win and he deserves to win. And I've said it from moment one we saw that movie. And you kind of were like a little bit laughing at me a little bit that I was like, they deserve supporting actor. She deserves support. And you were like, that's everybody in the movie. And I said, exactly.
Yes.
And then it happened. And I was like, yes. But Barry Keoghan took my heart and I felt differently coming out of that film because of him. I get what you're saying about Brian Gleason. Right? Brendan. What did I say, Brian?
Yep.
Too many B's in this list.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that Judd Hirsch was nominated for a monologue, which is tough to do. And we talked about, wow, if that happens, of course, I would have preferred Paul Dano, but he did not get the nomination. So it's a great list. And I will say this, and I'm surprised I haven't said it yet. Anybody who wins in the acting categories this year will deserve it. And that might sound like a cop-out to somebody, but I will not be dissatisfied with whose ever name is called. I just won't. There's not a stinker in the bunch. And not that there is normally, but there is like a dark horse, and there's a fifth nomination, and there's that's a career nomination, that kind of stuff. That does happen. This year, anybody who wins, but Ke-Huy Quan will win, and he will. Short Round will have an Oscar. How great is that?
That's so cool.
It's beyond cool.
And Steven Spielberg will be the first one to congratulate him.
Oh my gosh. Sure. Can you imagine? That's like your son. That's like you gave birth to him, and now your son is up there in his middle age, and he deserves it. Yep. That's the thing. He deserves it. It's not like the narrative of the comeback or any of that stuff, which is a great story,
and it's not a charity award.
Not at all. He deserves it. And if anybody argues, I'll say just watch the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, lastly, Barry Keoghan, do you want him to get a starring turn in a film and have everybody understand what his capabilities are?
They know.
Or do you want him to be in, Green Knight, that kind of thing?
They know who he is. And if you don't at this
point. Well, the people, okay, but I'm saying people who might just casually turn on the Oscars on Sunday night. No.
I mean, then that's cool if that's what you're going to do. I read that article that you sent me. I agree with that article, and I've been saying it for the 8 years that you've known me. I have said and broken that down for 8 years. It's a different thing going on with the Oscars. It's a ceremony.
How do you fix the Oscars?
Yeah. And they categorize everything and they say, okay, do everything up front with the top categories instead of at the bottom. Shorten the show like the SAG Awards do. I've been saying that. Find the fine line between ceremony versus celebration of Hollywood versus variety show. Cut it all out. Come back from commercial with all 5 of the songs. That way, if you don't want to watch that, it's like the halftime at the Super Bowl. You watch just Rihanna. So it all makes sense. So I don't care where and how Barry Keoghan gets work, just let him work. And we've been talking about him for a while now, and he is a standout in everything that we've talked about, from Killing of a Sacred Deer to Eternals. Yep. I mean, I've been watching him for a while now. So I just was happy that the people who could vote saw what I felt when I walked out of that movie. He crushed me, and he won the BAFTA. So I am really good with his, surprise star turn, whatever you want to say. He's been working for a long time now. So if he becomes a star, I don't care. If he gets some mainstream film and becomes Way of the World Part 3 and wins an Oscar for that, I don't care. At this point, he's put in such incredible work that he's been recognized. And now that means that his people can walk in and say, hey, this dude needs this amount of money because look, you missed him on this movie. You missed him on that movie. Now he's got a BAFTA and an Oscar nomination. He needs this amount of money to survive so he can go ahead and keep creating Killing of the Sacred Deer and stuff like that. That's how I think somebody like him works. I don't know him, but.
Well, and speaking of Killing of a Sacred Deer, and you look at Colin Farrell and you're kind of like, that's kind of an example of somebody who kind of like shot out and was doing The Recruit and doing all of these types of things, and
SWAT.
Minority Report, SWAT, and then he kind of reels it back for whatever reason
because he made enough
I don't know
money.
if it was maybe maybe he wasn't. Yeah, I mean, he was in like Daredevil. He was like one of the bad guys
Bullseye.
in Daredevil. Yeah, so I mean, but then you're right. Maybe he gets comfortable and he just reels it back and it says like, no, I want to do this. Wow, they've been in a lot of movies together because they were in the Batman together also.
Who?
I mean, not like in the same scene. Colin Farrell and I mean, it's the Joker and Penguin.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, so it's crazy. I didn't even
put them in another movie together.
Well, yeah, they were.
They spend the rest Killing of Sacred Deer.
Killing of Sacred Deer. Yeah.
If they spend the rest of their career just working together, I'm good. Throw Brandon Gleeson in there every once in a while, and I'm good.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. Well, this next one I think is. Wait, did we do supporting actress? Let's do supporting actress. Okay. Yes. So this next one is Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. You go.
Okay, so I think this category is the toughest, and it has been recently the toughest. It's the most exciting, always has been, in my opinion. This year is no exception. I am having difficulty saying who I would vote for because they're all superb. They're all great. There's not one of them. I will not be like, oh, her. I can't. You can't do it. But so I broke it down statistically, unlike I have ever done before. And it comes down to one basic thing for me. The Academy is moving forward. It is progressing. These things take time. The machine known as the Academy is a very slow moving tank, and they are progressing, but they are progressing slowly. So that said, I break it down like this. If Angela Bassett wins, it is as much a career Oscar as it is a performance Oscar. That is something I normally don't say. I think she will deserve it for Wakanda Forever, which I just recently watched again, and I agree with you. A second time is better than a first time. I was like, okay, I didn't get that. I didn't connect that. There are things I have trouble with that movie.
Me too.
But overall, a second time was like, oh, okay, it's really layered and complex, and it does, and the action sequences are intense and immense is the word I was going to say. But anyway, so there are certain reasons why I think everybody should win. That said, I think Carrie Condon will win. It's just that kind of Oscar-worthy performance. It's that Oscar caliber that makes sense to the Academy to give her that Oscar. Alicia Vikander. There are a whole line of people that I had in mind, and I can't think of one of them right now. That said, I think that I don't know who I would vote for. When I was trying to figure it out and I was writing it down, Stephanie Hsu kept coming to my mind. I don't know why. So if I had a ballot in front of me at that moment, I would have picked Stephanie Hsu. Because
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say Stephanie Hsu is who I would pick, but I understand from a practical standpoint a couple of things. Number one, they're probably not going to give 3 of the 4 acting awards to the same movie. I know that it's happened before. I understand that it's happened before, but I just don't know if they would actually do that. And then number 2, I understand that Angela Bassett, like you said, great performance, but there's some sort of weird, like, Marvel's never gotten an acting award before type thing. And I don't know if that is enough to prevent whoever makes those types of, calculations to not vote for Angela Bassett. So that would be stupid if that was the case.
That is stupid.
If she didn't win because of that. Because it has nothing to do with Angela Bassett. So that's dumb. And this award is supposed to have something to do with Angela Bassett. So, if they're voting for her or against her, it's for what she did on screen, and how she embodied that character on screen versus, we don't give acting awards to Marvel characters. So that's
actually, I think the opposite effect has happened too. She's being celebrated for being the first Marvel character to be nominated for an acting award. She's being celebrated as much as it's being held against her, but it's never been held against anybody else in the DC universe. How ironic is that? DCU can't get off their butt, but Marvel is this big thing, but DCU has won
a bunch of Academy Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
One character.
Yeah, exactly. 2 people. Yeah. So it's a tough year. So who would you vote for and who will win?
Stephanie Hsu is who I would vote for. I have no idea who will win. Because it's all over the place, like you said. I'm going to say Angela Bassett will win.
Okay.
But I really am not sure. I was going to say, like, I was typing in Hong Chow and I almost typed in Hong Chow, The Menu, but I haven't seen The Whale yet. But I know that, like, she was great in The Menu, but I haven't seen The Whale yet, so I don't know. But that's really cool that she's on there, though. Speaking of that, two of these actresses have been in episodes of Poker Face, so you've got that to look forward to.
There we go. And I will end supporting actress on my side with this. I spoke of Jamie Lee Curtis, and I would like to go back and watch that together with you because I would like to see your face. Wait, did we record video for? No, I don't think so.
No, we didn't. No. It was like a year ago almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think you kind of were like, what?
Yeah, there's no way Jamie Lee Curtis is going to get nominated for an Academy Award.
And now that you said that, if and when she wins, don't be surprised. Now, I'm not trying to try an easy way out.
No. What did she win? The SAG?
She won the SAG. But see, everybody's like, because now she's the front runner. But so was Angela Bassett when Angela Bassett won the Golden Globe. So was Carrie Condon when she won the BAFTA. It's been split. And we know Regina King has stopped that motion because remember, she wasn't even nominated for the SAG award, but yet she won the Oscar. So all bets are off statistically. That's what I love about it. It's a nail biter. Any one of them that wins, I will be happy. And if it's Stephanie Hsu, I don't think she'll be able to get up there because I think she'll be so surprised. She won the Independent Spirit Award, breakout performance though. So.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to tie these two together and it's maybe in a weird order, but I noticed something while I was putting together this list. Best Director, Martin McDonagh. Also, Banshees of Inisherin nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Todd Field, Tar nominated for Original Screenplay. Ruben Östlund, The Triangle of Sadness nominated for Original Screenplay. Daniels, Everything Everywhere All at Once nominated for Screenplay. And Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner were nominated for Screenplay, and Spielberg was nominated for Best Director. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but I noticed it this year, and I think that is kind of funky. Number one is that all of the directors nominated for Best Director directed original screenplays. That's kind of interesting. Number two, they all lined up screenplay and director, which means they were all at least co-writers and directors. So that is also interesting to me. I try to keep that in mind when watching a film. And I know that a lot of people are kind of definitely like against the whole auteur theory thing, but this says something, maybe not auteur theory, but it also says that like someone with their hand in the creative process from the closer to the beginning of the film to the very end, like the beginning as a screenwriter and the end as a director and potentially co-editor, or at least having a hand in the editing and mixing and all that stuff. These are the movies that you get. So, and I enjoyed or appreciated all of those movies. Triangle of Sadness is a movie that it's like, yeah, there were some funny parts, but like enjoy, we'll see. I don't know.
Satisfied.
Tar was satisfied. Yeah. Tar was another one. It's like, I need to see Tar again, but that's not a like, give me a bowl of popcorn type of a movie.
That's a give me a half a Xanax type of a movie and a glass of wine for a second
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I've seen a bunch of times. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times. So that says that right there. So, and The Fabelmans, I immediately rewatched. So, I mean, all of these things, you know, you put all those together. And so for me, I think that best original screenplay, I would give it to Tar. I think that Todd Field did something that is grounded in reality. Somehow it's taking things that could potentially happen in the world and twisting them and inserting them into this pre-existing structure of conductors and classical music and that particular industry, and it's making it his own, and it's also making it somehow like realistic and grounded. And so when I compare that to what I think will win, which is screenplay, I wrote the wrong one down. I think that The Fabelmans will win, but anyway, so when I compare that to something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like the Daniels had like carte blanche. They could do whatever they want, and they can craft whatever story they want, and they're not bound by anything but their imagination. Like they're not working within any. They had no guardrails, and it was an amazing film, and I love it. But I think that Todd Field had to work within this kind of structure and figure out a way to expand it, and I think that he did a great job. So, what about you for?
I would reverse everything you said. I would say
Okay.
I would say that one might discuss heavily that the structure of Tar and the world of him fitting into a world gave him guardrails, so he could never bounce out of the lane. Everything Everywhere All at Once could have gone off the guardrails in 1,000 different directions, and it did, but they always brought it back to heart and soul and story. Right back to it. It always came back to the reason why she was doing this was because of this: her father, her family, her business, her life, her not wanting to go to jail for tax evasion, her daughter. It always came back to that, and it could have gone. It went in 1,000 different directions, and it could have gone askewed. That said, what I was going to say about Carrie Condon's performance with Best Supporting Actress, if you've noticed in the last couple of years of the Oscars, they sort of have given one award to a bunch of different movies. So that goes back to what you were saying about the acting Oscars from Everything. I'm not doubting that Everything could take all 3 of those acting Oscars. I would love everything about that. It would blow the glass ceiling off of that part of what we think is something that's not happening. It would blow the glass ceiling off of that. No one would be able to dispute it. Well, this had 3 acting Oscars. Anyway, that said, I think the Academy likes to spread the wealth. That's why I think Carrie Condon will win for Banshees on some level, deserved as it is. And that's why I think Martin McDonagh will not win for Banshees, because I thought he was the front runner at first. So that said, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once will win. And I would vote for that. Although I love the hell out of Banshees of Inisherin. I love it. It's clever. It's something I've never seen before. And I might talk myself out of it right now when I remind myself that he set out and said, we're going to do this, this, and this. And he did everything he said he was going to do. And there's always those movies that the character says, I'm going to, not just him, I'm talking about Martin McDonagh, said, I'm going to write a character who's going to do this, this, and this. And he does it. A lot of movies will find a way out of it. Well, no, don't do that because you don't want to. I don't want to give anything away. If people haven't.
You're trying to protect the audience in a lot of ways. It seems like, there's like the specter of this risk, but then we don't want the audience to have to deal with the trauma of that.
But
and
he does not pull any punches. So I love that screenplay. I just think it's everything, everywhere, all at once is night. I just do, and I don't hope for this, but I actually think the Fabelmans will get shut out. I can't believe I just.
Interesting.
I can't believe I just said that. I feel so bad.
Interesting.
No, I take it back.
Because I
just took it all back.
I was going for Daniels, but I thought that Steven Spielberg would win because it's such a movie. You know,
it's a different year.
Huh.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm not saying I can't believe I just said that out loud and it's recorded. I'm sorry. I feel bad because I just didn't see the magic of the Fabelmans. I'm hoping when I watch it again, I do see it, but it just didn't affect me. So I'm not clear on that. So
I'm a much bigger fan of that movie than you are. So I can totally see where.
And I agree with you. I think you can say that you have a discussion. If it does win, I can see why you were right. So can we move on because I feel bad now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that what we've got left is Best Actor and then Best Picture. Those are the big ones that we have left.
We didn't pick.
We did Director.
No, we didn't.
Oh, I did Director.
What? Oh, because you just said Daniels.
And I think that Steven Spielberg will win.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, because of what I just said, because I think it's a movie about movies and it's his like swan song, and people may think this is the last time to give him an Academy Award, and look what he's given us. Look what he's given the world. I mean, that kind of a thing.
He has
I know,
he has to.
Yeah.
For incredible movies.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
So he has to. Okay, Daniels will win, and I would vote for him.
Okay. Well, I hope they do win. Like, I'm kind of amazed that Everything Everywhere All at Once is so just like splattered across all of this.
One word. Can you guess what the one word is? Parasite.
Winning?
Parasite.
Oh, well, now, but they didn't win any acting awards. They won director, international, and Best Picture, right?
And screenplay.
Oh, and screenplay. Yeah.
And you said director, right?
And editing, I think.
It won 5 of its 6.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't supposed to win anything but one of those.
International, yeah.
So maybe I'm a little high on my high horse here, and maybe I need to bring it down a little bit because
I would love it.
When I start to do this, it starts to jinx it. But I'm saying,
I don't think we're that plugged into the industry where you can affect.
Speak for yourself.
Where you can affect the outcome. Okay. He looks at me incredulously.
Are you talking about like our podcast affecting people to change their opinion? No, but our vibe.
Okay, the vibe. Okay, we'll send out the vibe.
See, it's that tone right there that when I said Jamie Lee Curtis, I think you went hot dog fingers. I think that's what you said to and I was like, watch. And now she's considered like a possibility. So anyway, the point to all of that is that what you're saying is totally fair. I hear what you're saying. And if I'm going to take it in that they're going to separate the Oscars and give Carrie Condon because they want to award Banshees an Oscar, then I have to take in what you're saying about Fabelmans and Spielberg and Kushner. So cool. Got it.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, Best Actor. We got Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, Bill Nighy for Living, and Paul Mescal for After Sun. You go.
Not a stinker in the bunch. All powerful, all committed, all hunkered down. Colin Farrell blew me away. I'm glad he's finally getting recognized as an Academy Award nominatable actor because he's put in such incredible work. In Bruges is an example. The Penguin is another example. Any other year, if Banshees didn't exist, they would be considering him for the Penguin. Easily. When he waddles away, guys, you're going to leave me like this? That's hilarious. And he thought that up. I'll guarantee it. You know me? He's incredible in that. So it's just one of those years where it's so stacked, it's almost unfair. Bill Nighy broke my heart. and I'm glad that he's being recognized. If it's the surprise of the night, I will be shocked and love everything about it. And there's not one person that could argue it once you see the movie. It is it's beautiful. That film is beautiful, and it's so stunning because of his performance. The movie's really well done too. Paul Mescal, that movie is everything backwards. That movie is about moments that are just not significant in people's life, but when you put them all together, those moments are significant. And so to hold my interest for however long, hour and 45 minutes, that young lady who's in it is, if he surprisingly won, would be the shot. I mean, it would be, I can't see it happening, but if he surprisingly won, he should bring her up there and thank her, because without her, he would not be where he was at. So
that's Frankie Corio.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to say Frankie, but I was afraid to. So Austin Butler, I've apologized already, being dismissive of his performance and the movie. And I will reiterate it really quick. I just was dismissive because I thought I didn't understand the level he had to go to. And then when he talked about it, and he talked about running the laugh over and over again and looking like a crazy person, I was like, yep, I can totally understand that. And I could imagine having to do it on the level that he'd have to do it and not lose my mind, like not be locked up, because I would be. I know I would be, because I'd lose my mind. So if he wins, good for him. I just I need for something other than a real person that we know in a biopic winning. Something else needs to happen, and that's unfair to him. So if he does win, I'll be okay with it. And who am I forgetting? So obviously Brendan Fraser, but who else am I forgetting? I'm forgetting
Colin Farrell.
I said him. Penguin. Okay.
Brendan. Yeah.
So that brings me to him. I cannot stop thinking about his performance. I can't stop living it. He is soul-shatteringly great in that film. The work is, I don't understand how people go there. I can't understand that switch they flip, that research that they do, that moment that they get, that rehearsing that they understand. I can't. I get little glimpses of it, just minimal little glimpses, and I love that I can. But but I was there. So I'm good with that. I'm not trying to cut myself down, and I'm certainly not trying to put myself on the same mantle as these 5 Academy Award nominees, because their work is intense. That said, the work Brendan Fraser puts in goes beyond the cosmetic thing that everybody's saluting, and the transformation everybody is saluting, the dissolving into a character because you are heavy makeup, to Gary Oldman, Robert De Niro, you name it. There's been a ton of them. And the soul and the absolute perfect line readings all the way through that movie, and you'll see when you see it, and the absolute joy that comes from that character, believe it or not, has changed me on some level. And so I have to say Brendan Fraser will win, and Brendan Fraser should win, and I would vote for him. It would be, I would hover for a little while. Paul, you were great. Bill, oh my God, Brendan. So that's just the way it works for me.
Well, and I'm at a lack here because I've only seen 3 of the 5 films. So, but I would say that I think Brendan Fraser probably will win, considering all the things that I've seen. But I would vote for Colin Farrell and Banshees of Inisherin. And I did see After Sun, and you're right. I mean, Paul Mescal is good in that movie, but for me, I think that Charlotte Wells is the standout,
the director,
in all of the writer director in all of that, because the shot selection choices she makes, the metaphors associated in the film with reflections, there's just so
washing away
that's such
the
a
mud.
Deep movie, such a deep movie, and I texted you after I saw it, I was like I fought against that movie. I was like, this is not entertaining, this is not fulfilling, this is not even a slice of life. What is this? And then by the end, there's there's a structure to the film that's set up throughout the film that's so transparent, and it is a cathartic way for the audience to connect with the two characters by the end, and it's masterful. I mean,
Did you notice the rug?
Really good.
The rug?
Yes, I did when she got up. Yeah. Oh man.
Well, I will say one last thing about After Sun. What I know is that and we've talked about this, I've told you about this, to just say, hey, how are you today? To somebody, when it's written, seems like it's something you do every day. And you would be like, hey, how you doing? You'd think it would just come. Those are the hardest things to do, at least for me. The big stuff seems to just naturally, knock on wood for the next 3 shows, comes. So to actually just be talking about everyday stuff is very difficult. So for that, I'm glad that he was nominated. But I agree with you. You know, it is a movie that needs to be experienced, and you do have to like see it through.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You got it. I mean, it's not that long of a movie. I think it's an hour and a half.
Yeah,
long.
it's,
I mean,
very. And then at the end, you're like, oh, clever in the best kind of spiritual way.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's do cinematography real quick.
Okay.
We've got Empire of Light, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, Elvis, and Tar. Did you see Bardo?
I did not.
Okay. What do you think? I mean, I would pick Tar, but I'm more on the Tar tip.
Yeah.
So
The Tar tip. Is that what that's called?
I don't know.
Yeah. This one, see, I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I think that All Quiet is going to do a better showing than we're expecting. An international feature. It's going to win. And it is an interesting looking film so far. Almost a little glossier than I expected it to be.
Which is one issue I have with it.
Okay.
Like it's
it is there.
It's clinical.
Not just me. Okay. Fair enough.
And because I mean, I watched it on a 4K TV and all of that. I mean, I think the sound design's good, but I mean the
score is weird.
I'm not a big fan of the score.
Don't.
It's like cheap Hans Zimmer.
What? Oh yeah.
Cheap Hans Zimmer.
Well, I'm never going to say that. It's just odd. It sounds like a art house film done by Pink Floyd.
The score, by the way, did get nominated for Academy Award.
It's a very odd score. Anyway, cinematography, I'm going to go with Elvis. I don't know why. I just think it is glossy and it's fast.
It's Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah. And it's and it's got to be hard to do in the way he makes things look. So, I mean, I could see it. Mandy Walker is her name. I understand Tar. Mm-hmm. Tar is a little based in reality for me to the point where somebody will have to educate me on why that looks the way that it looks and why it looks the way that it looks and why that makes that interesting for a cinematography win.
I think that there's a lot of natural light, and then there's a lot of grounding characters in a scene, in a frame, and utilizing, like I said, utilizing light that is already there and making things look not artificial or clinical. And I think that takes work. And in a movie like Tar, you don't have the, I don't know, you don't have the crazy things that you can just kind of like be like, well, nobody's ever seen this before ever, so we can do whatever we want. It's not the bagel temple of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is really cool, but it's just a different kind of a setup. So
I feel you. I got you on that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So what about editing? I mean, it's Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, and Tar. I mean, I would say Everything Everywhere All at Once. The sheer amount of editing that is in there is something to behold. And since everybody is voting on it and not just editors, I think that will probably, bubble to the top. You could probably make a case for Elvis, even though I don't think Elvis, I mean, I think people might be like, yeah, I mean, look at all those music scenes and stuff like that. But, I I don't know. I mean, in what happened in Top Gun Maverick was just amazing from a technical standpoint, just being able to shoot the film the way that they shot the film, and being able to integrate all of those things in a naturalistic way, I think is definitely needs to be applauded. But I would vote for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I won't be surprised if it wins, but I actually think Top Gun, if it has a chance to win the Oscars this year, it's going to be visual effects and this one.
Visual effects, yeah.
And I think it will deserve both. I think the editing adds to the excitement of the film, and we've talked about that. They show that same sequence over and over again. I mean, how many times do we have to count it? And we should take shots every time they show it. One time we'd be obliterated by the end of the film. But so I think that's difficult. I think that's difficult to make those shots work over and over again, pacing wise, and that's the editor's job. So if anything wins, it's probably Everything will win. But if there is a switch, it's going to be Top Gun. I think Top Gun might do better than we're expecting.
That's cool. I'd be excited. I'd be excited if Top Gun had a great showing. I guess it could win song because Lady Gaga has a song.
I think that's next to Rihanna is the best shot.
That Rihanna song's really good.
It is beautiful. It is really good. It is. Her voice sounds nice on that. It's just soothing in a way. She doesn't do anything crazy over the top. It's nice. It's got a nice little pace to it. Yeah, I agree.
It's like I Got You.
Yeah,
it's like comforting.
Yeah, that's a
feel.
Yeah. Once again, I say something here, you say it there, and you say it way. Yes, exactly. So edit me completely out and say what you gotta say. No, I know what you're saying.
Original score, there's All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees of Inisherin, Babylon, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans. This is easy for me. It's Babylon.
Yeah,
Babylon.
I think it's going to win
score.
I think it's going to win production design and score.
So good.
Yeah. I think and I won't have a problem with either of those. I mean, I won't. And I could see that it could win costume too. But those Mrs. Paris, Mrs. Smith, or Mrs. What's-Majigga Goes to Paris.
Mrs. Smith Goes to Paris.
Is that what it's called? Mrs. Harris.
Harris Goes to Paris.
Yes, I knew it was one of those. Yes. No disrespect to that movie. I have not seen it. Those kind of films always win, so don't be surprised if it does. But
Black Panther was great too for costume, but
yeah, I have some stuff.
Oh, I guess Black Panther won last time, right?
Last time, yes.
Ruth Carter?
Yes.
Yeah, last time.
And I'm glad that she's nominated again. She created a whole world that didn't exist, but
she's already kind of been awarded for it, I guess.
Yeah, so, and she did it again. Again. Namor's land in Atlantis or whatever. It's very clever and very well designed. So if she wins again, I'll be all about it. I just have some restraint things going on with that, but that's been talked about, and I'm not going to talk about it again because I severely respect Ruth Carter. So I don't want to ever sound like I'm being disrespectful. All right, where are we going now? We're almost an hour in, by the way. We're doing good.
I think we're done. I mean, are we done?
We didn't do picture.
I kind of forgot that we haven't done picture. So I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is there, and I'm totally fine with it. I would vote for it. It's my favorite movie of the year. Is there? Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Spoilers for a few weeks from now when
I'm shocked you just said
10.
that. I was like, what?
It needs to be said. I think I get a feeling that people are pulling away from this movie, and
the opposite has happened.
All the film Twitter people.
I almost cussed. I almost gave you an editing job because really, honestly, you want an editing job?
No, well, no.
Okay, good, because them. So I mean, with all due respect, it's Twitter, and whatever I say now, you're gonna cut out anyway. So it's not important. Here's what the movement is on Twitter for me. The movement is trying to be right, not
trying to be right 10 years from now.
No, trying to be right so you can say, I told you that was going to win. Now.
Oh, okay.
But it's always kind of like this negative tone to it. It's always got this that's impossible. She cannot win because she's going to win. And it's, I don't think
it's the knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now that's why they're saying Jamie Lee Curtis is the front runner because she won the SAG. So I have seen nothing but the momentum become increased over the last couple of weeks for Everything Everywhere all at once. So when it does win Best Picture, which I think it will win Best Picture. Now, if we were to rank these 1, 2, and 3, can you do that? Who would be your first choice? Who would be your second choice? And who?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely giving things away.
No, not as not your favorite movies.
Oh,
of the
who
year.
I think
you had to
would win. Oh, if I had to put him down, yeah. I mean, it would be Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, Tar, and then Fabelmans.
Okay. With the exception of Fabelmans, it would be Banshees for me, but I'm right down the line with you.
That would be next, I think.
Yeah.
Elvis would be in there. It'd be down, but it would be in there. It'd be like honorable mentions.
Because don't they have to rank their top 3? Don't they have to do that?
It's ranked choice voting. Yeah.
Right. But do they have to do it for all 10? Or just
probably I would hope so.
Oh, okay.
I would hope they would do that just because you have the most amount of data. But I would think there's 10 slots, but whether you put something in each of those slots, maybe you don't have to do that.
So,
but it's if you rank something number 1, it probably gets 10 points. If you rank something number 2, it gets 9 points on down, and then the thing with the most points wins.
So Everything will win, and Everything I would vote for, and there's a whole list of reasons why, but it comes down to the heart and soul of that movie is in the exact place it needs to be. It affected me. It's still, I think about it to this day, and I've only seen it once. I can't wait to see it again. I'm kind of like waiting just for the right moment to see it again. I can't wait. Maybe after the celebration. I don't think it's going to underperform at the Oscars. If it does, then, so be it. But I just think there is a time and a place for everything, and it's the time and it's the place. So we'll see.
I think that movie. So like I try to like put up movies behind me that I own that are somewhat related to what we talk about. And so today I got On the Waterfront. I got, what was the other one I got? No, I got Nope, because that didn't get any nominations, which is insane. And right above me, I have Shape of Water, which is a great steelbook, but it's a movie that I haven't really thought about as much after we talked about it and after it won Best Picture. But I think and the times that I've rewatched it, I haven't gotten as much out of it as the first time I watched it. Every time I've watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, I've gotten more out of it. And that says something about a movie.
That's a good way to look at it. And I agree with you with Shape of Water. I've seen it twice since. The second time I saw it after the Oscars, I was as thrilled on some level. But the third time I saw it, I was like, I can see why people didn't take this movie and didn't run with it. But I'm still happy that particular movie won Best Picture.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad Guillermo del Toro won. All of it.
He's going to win another one this year
for Pinocchio.
Yes.
Which I also did not get through. There was a weird thing for me.
It's a weird.
It was.
You're like, Nazi youth camp? I told you that. And you looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, no, that actually happens. You were like, is that some kind of analogy you're making up? And I was like, no, that happens. And you're like, what?
It's so interesting because like a movie like that, I'm like, nope, I'm out. And then a movie like After Sun, I'm like, yeah, let's dig in. It's like, why? Because it's serious subject matter, all of it.
Well, I think everything in its due time. You thought I was going to say it again. That I knew All Quiet on the Western Front would be one of those films. I waited too long. I should have done it last week, but I just was nowhere near the headspace, and I'm still not. But I will finish it because of the Oscars. But there are things in its due time, and certain films you have to. That's why being a critic and being a reviewer doesn't interest me as much as a discussion about a film interests me, because you don't know. You could have woken up happy and then gone and seen Spider-Man 3 and thought it was the best movie ever or whatever. So it's so subjective that it's something people should say. And actually, you and I, and in particular, you do a really good job of going, well, I was kind of rushing, or I was kind of late. I was falling asleep, or I was wide awake. You say those things before you discuss a film. So, and then what you just admitted, for lack of a better term, about After Sun, that you were like, what is it? I'm leaving. What is happening here? Oh, this is enough to keep me. This is enough to keep me. This is enough to keep me. I think that the director would be complimented by that discussion, because that's probably more intriguing than this film didn't work because of whatever reason the critics say. So it's everything in its due time. So if you're not into Pinocchio right now, I went and saw it in the movie theater, so I was kind of locked.
You're stuck.
Yeah, a little bit. And I was okay with it, but I have questions about it.
All right, you can check us out on the web at actorandengineer.com. You can go to facebook.com/actorandengineer. You can tweet us at actorengineer, and you can find us on YouTube. Just search for the Actor and the Engineer podcast, and we'll see you next time.